The date that never was. John had never been a fan of dating apps, but on a lonely Friday night, after swiping through countless profiles, he matched with someone who caught his eye. Emma. Her profile was a dream, an attractive blonde with a soft smile and a keen sense of humor. She was witty, charming, and shared all of his interests. Her messages were constant, playful banter, and before long he was hooked. Hey, John, I know this might be a little soon, but how about we meet up this weekend? Emma texted one evening, her words lighting up his phone. John was taken aback. He hadn't expected things to move this quickly, but something about her felt different. He hesitated for only a moment before responding with a nervous smile on his face. Sounds great. Where do you want to meet? There was a brief pause, then she sent the address. I've got a spot in mind a little out of town, but it's super quiet. I can't wait to see you, John. John furrowed his brow. The address wasn't familiar, an old neighborhood, seemingly remote. He checked the map again. It was almost an hour outside of town, tucked away in a wooded area. He should have questioned it. But the excitement, the mystery of it all, pulled him in. Maybe she just liked the privacy. He agreed to meet her there, quickly throwing on a hoodie and a pair of jeans. The darkness outside seemed to heighten his sense of anticipation and unease, but he shoved those feelings aside. It's just a date. You've got this, he told himself. The drive felt endless, the road winding and twisting through thick trees. The headlights from his car cut through the darkness, illuminating little more than the twisted branches that reached out like gnarled fingers. His phone buzzed again. It's going to be so fun. I'm almost there. Don't be nervous. He grinned and tightened his grip on the wheel. Finally, the address popped up on his GPS. It was a long, narrow road leading to an eerie-looking house, barely visible through the mist and trees. A shiver ran down John's spine, and the house looked old, abandoned even. He parked in front, trying to ignore the cold lump that had suddenly formed in his stomach. The house loomed over him, its windows dark, its door ajar. But his phone buzzed again, this time with a new message from Emma. I'm waiting for you inside. Just come on in. John swallowed, feeling the weight of 1,000 warnings in his chest, but then the thought of Emma, the beautiful, playful blonde, pushed away his instincts. He stepped out of the car, his footsteps crunching on the gravel path that led up to the house. As he approached the door, it creaked open wider, inviting him inside. Emma, he called, his voice sounding too small for the night. There was no answer, but he heard something. Shuffling, the faint echo of footsteps on wood. He hesitated, wondering if this was some sort of prank. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up as he stepped inside, his eyes adjusting to the dim lighting. He called her name again, louder this time. Emma? Suddenly the door slammed shut behind him, and the sound of footsteps grew louder, faster. Something wasn't right. His heart began to race. Then out of the shadows, he saw her, or what he thought was her. A figure emerged from the corner. She was dressed in a loose, disheveled gown, her wild gray hair frizzing out in every direction, and a strange, vacant smile on her face. The face, though, it wasn't Emma's. It was twisted, like a caricature of a woman who had once been young, now aged and deformed by years of madness. Her eyes glistened unnaturally, and a twisted cackle escaped her cracked lips. Before John could react, she lunged at him, her gnarled hand gripping a large rusted knife. "You're mine now!" she screeched, her voice a high-pitched, maniacal scream that rattled his bones. John's blood ran cold. His legs froze, rooted to the spot, but his instincts kicked in. He ducked, narrowly avoiding the sharp edge of the blade as it slashed through the air above him. He turned and bolted for the door, but it slammed shut again, trapping him inside with this creature. His mind raced. The woman wasn't Emma. She wasn't even a person he could reason with. She was a monster, a crazed old woman with nothing left but a sick desire to kill. John scrambled for a way out, his heart hammering in his chest. He could hear her coming closer, her feet shuffling in the dark, the sound of her heavy breathing making his skin crawl. The blade scraped against the floor, a horrific symphony to his impending doom. With every step, she was gaining on him, her mad laughter echoing through the house. John found a window and smashed it open with his elbow, the glass shattering like thunder. He didn't stop to think. He didn't stop to wonder who this woman was or why she was doing this. All that mattered was getting out. His legs shaky, adrenaline pushing him to move faster. The woman screamed from inside, but he didn't look back. John didn't stop running until he reached his car, barely able to catch his breath. His hands shook as he fumbled to start the engine. As he drove away, he glanced back at the house through the rearview mirror. In the upstairs window, he swore he saw a pale face peering at him, grinning. That night, he blocked Emma's profile. He never spoke to her again. And though he never told anyone, John couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was always watching him now.